G'day friends, welcome to today's YouTube video, the extra mile for my Halloworkshop series. This is week 5. There are still a couple of weeks left of the Halloworkshop. Obviously it stays up after the fact, but we're right in it now. We're right in the thick of it. We're in October. It's spooky season, so join now, forever hold your peace, or just play along with me today. I am going to do Jack the Pumpkin King. Where did my book go? Oh, it's over here. You wouldn't know. Sorry, I'm just going to put that over there so I can reference that. I'm going straight in with pen 2. It should be super wonky. I'm going to start with the pumpkin face. Got to leave a bit of a gap because I'm going to give him a really big crown. It's going to take up a lot of the page, this drawing, and it's going to be super wonky, but we're doing like a one-line attempt. So when I do this oval, I have to do it in one line. I can't be sketching it out. I'm going to add a crescent moon over to the side, and then a crescent moon over this side. They get smaller as they go out, and this is our pumpkin head. This is an Inkline King Art 0.3, and it's a waterproof pen. We need that because I'm going to watercolor over the top of this at the end and give it just a really light wash of just some really flat shading, some flat coloring, but it's all about the line work for this one. So we've got the pumpkin head. I'm going to put like an M-shaped crown, and see how wonky that is? Just really off. Love it. I'm also going to give him some loops. I want frills everywhere. This is a very fancy Pumpkin King. I'm referencing Jack from Nightmare Before Christmas. If you do not know where all of that's coming from, I'm going to give him a really long spindly neck too that kind of curves back in like that, like a backward C shape banana, and then like a kite for a body that's just off center. It's kind of on the diagonal. I'm going to bump it out to this really flat triangle and then straighten it off down to the bottom of the page. It's really taking up the all the real estate that we have on the page. I'm going to put 2 hands kind of going like this, like boo, rah, for Halloween, obviously. I'm going to come from this side here, just bend that arm down and this arm down. This is from the shoulder to the elbow. Then the elbow is going to creep up this way. Doesn't matter if they're not the same length. For the hand, I've got to start with like kind of like a pinched triangle at the top, like that. And then the thumb goes in this way. And then all the other fingers are going to go out the other way with these kind of bumps in them. There we go, boo. Great, loving that. Let's put a mouth on. It's not just a smile. I'm going to bump the smile up in the middle. It's kind of cuter, but also a little weirder. And then the nose is a triangle. I'm going to make it an arrow. It's missing a section of it. I don't really want to color anything in full black. I want all the sketchy line work to pop through. So I'm going to put a shading under the neck. I'm actually just going to cross hatch that in. It's going to be a lot of cross hatching everywhere. I will put some frills at the neck too. Like I said, he's a very fancy Jack Skellington. And I'm going to pop his bat bow, like almost like it's copying the fingers with these 3 spiky bits. Just so I can fill a lot of the negative space. I will put some veining in there. I'll decide how crazy I want to go with all the details later, but just some veining in the bat wings I think will be nice. I'm also going to do a little line work stripe detail down the neck just to give it a bit of texture because I don't want that just to be blank. And as we move down, I'm going to give him a collar. It's like a little V with some more frills. Another V for his lapels. He's going to wear a suit jacket. I also like to pinch those shoulders up too, like we did that first week with the Arachnid Adams. If you're a part of the course, you know she has those pinched shoulders. And I'm going to give him little bat wings from those pinched shoulders. Like I said, nothing is colored in black, like a full shaded in solid black, but you can scribble it in as long as there's just a touch of an open area. It looks better to me. I'm also going to make these arms really spindly, really wonky, and drop some point into that elbow just to really accentuate how dramatic that is. buttons alongside that split down the middle, and then his pants. Let's just leave it like that. I'm sure that's fine. Oh, I gotta put the buttons on his shirt too. I just like a long row of circles. Just looks like buttons. You don't actually have to draw any detail. I'm gonna put the eyes on in this sector here, so not the middle section, the one over here. Kind of slanted downways and then triangular at the bottom. I like the tradition of like a triangular carved pumpkin eye. And really close hatching to fill that block of triangle in. For the mouth, I'm going to do really narrow rectangles so that it almost looks like staples. They're supposed to be stitches, but I like, if I just do the stroke, I think they're just going to look too thin. So if I do a really thin rectangle, it just bulks them up a little bit. It looks a little bit more solid, especially working on such a big piece. I could do it with a thicker pen, but I just want to use one pen for all of this. I'm also going to add a little bit of boldness to that line right at the edge of the mouth, and then kind of through the center as well. Oh, I want to give him a curly mustache. So it dips up towards the eye and then underneath and then out into that cheek area. I like to run a bunch of lines. Where it curves the most, I'll bump that line out, and then it gets thinner as it sweeps under the eye, and it bulks out again in that big curve. Just want to tidy up those edges. If anything, you want there to be a bit more heaviness where the points of the triangles are, so you can see the point down here has a bit of heaviness, the point up here, where those triangles are kind of pinched, you can really block that in. There we go. I might even hatch the other way for these eyes so they get really heavy. And I'm going to add stripes to his suit. He has a pinstripe suit. I believe it's black, but the stripes are white. I'm going to use black stripes, and then I'm going to paint the suit probably a Payne's blue-gray. So the stripes will still show through, and it'll still look like a dark suit, but they just won't be white. You'll get the effect of a striped suit, a dark striped suit. It's just a little cheating trick, I guess. There we go. I'm certainly not running these lines very neatly next to each other. As long as they fill the space, you get the idea. Oh, I want frills at his cuff as well. They look like those little paper things you put on the turkey. I hate those. I think they're so ugly. And then pinstripes for the pants. It's a little easier on the pants because they're just running straight down to the bottom of the page. Turn the pinstripe on the fly. Thicken up that middle line at the crotch just so it looks like the legs are separated. I could have put a separation in the legs, it's fine. He's quite thick down here. It's got big thighs, this one. And then I'm going to add some extra lines to the fingers. It's a little thicker up the top here, and then it just fades down into nothing at the fingertips. They're really spindly. They look super fragile, like they could break. And the only real detail beyond the clothes I want to add, I'll do some diamonds up here. I put a diamond and then a cross in the middle of it just to make it look three-dimensional. Ish. It's very ish. Put a whole bunch of diamonds there for my crowns. Very rich, expensive crowns. The only other detail I want is hatching. I just want to make sure that see how it's like very plain around the face? I want to go into all these crevices and add just some dashed line works. It's a lot of dashes. It's a lot of dashes at the top. It's a lot of hatching down into the pumpkin, especially in all those little nooks and crannies, if you can get that in there. And just a few little dots and dashes, Morse code really. Build a message in. I don't know how to do Morse code. If we can get that in, kind of simulating shadows, because the coloring I'm going to do is just a watercolor wash. And it's not going to be, what's it called? It's not going to be shading. It's not going to be any kind of shadows. I'm not going to mix any colors to, you know, shadow anything. I'm just going to flat wash over. So I need some shadowing with my pen, but obviously I don't want to color it all in because it's a black pen and it'll look really heavy. So if we just drag these clusters of scribbles everywhere into the shadow areas, that will be great. Some extra depth on that neck. Put some extra spindly triangles at the top of those bat wings, and perhaps even at the edge of the bat wing, just to make it really sharp. And at the top of the crown. Sometimes when I do this, it reminds me of, if you've seen Batman Returns, Michelle Pfeiffer's nails, I don't know what she uses, but she's doing the sewing, like she pours her sewing kit out and she puts the little hooks kind of on the end of her nails. I'm not quite sure what that thing is supposed to be. I thought it was a thimble, but obviously a thimble wouldn't have, oh, I think I know what it is. It's a seam ripper. That just came to me in a dream. No, I think it's a seam ripper. Because that would make sense, that little sharp hook. Having said that, I've never seen a seam ripper like that, but it's the only thing I could really imagine it would be in a sewing kit. I'm going to add some lines, kind of follow the curve of that pumpkin, just really lightly stroked through for some, I don't know what that's called, but like, I'm not going to say, I want to say sinewy lines, but it's not. I don't know. I've said sinew so many times today and it's been the wrong context every single time. So don't mind me. This effect with putting these little dashes everywhere in some shadow areas and just to texturize it in black and white with a pen, like an ink, especially if you have a dip pen or something like that, it kind of looks like etching, which is cross-hatching really, but like old etched plates for, you know, how images used to be reproduced back in the Victorian ages. I think, Victorian, pre the printing press. I mean, it is the printing press actually, but pre-digital computers, when if you wanted to reproduce something a million times, you'd have to etch it onto copper plates or something, and then because you would only reproduce it in one color in ink, you would have to do all the shadowing in these cross-hatching variations to be able to put all your tonal value in there, and I just really like it. Every now and again, it just makes me happy to use one supply and have fun time drawing. It's also a great way to pour all of the interest into your piece if you're not someone that feels particularly confident with coloring. There's so many factors to creating art that I think of, and we all have preferences. I, in particular, don't find myself to be that great with color. And I think it might have something to do with the fact that I love Mary Blair so much, and she's renowned for being a genius with color. And so it's become very highlighted to me that I don't have that same skill. I'm not even quite sure how she did it. I want to believe that it's innate, and that's why I don't have it, because if it's a skill, I've just not picked it up yet. But I can definitely look for color palettes and color palettes that I like, but it's also not one of those things that really plays on my mind. I don't do a piece and think, oh, I'm really gonna think about the colors of it. I just don't for a lot of the time. So for me, this kind of, you know, focusing my extra attention on even these spindly little points everywhere, this style, this aesthetic, you know, I'm okay with shading. I never really use a proper reference, but I kind of know generally where shading might go. So this maximizes a lot of what I feel like I have good skill in, and then simplifies the thing that I don't think I'm that great at, which is color. And even though I don't think that's the way you have to work, I'm going to put a little goatee on here too. I don't think that's the way you have to work to achieve good results. Sometimes it is nice just to highlight some of the things you're good at. Ironically, I don't think a lot of people feel the most confident in the drawing. I think a lot more people would feel confident in their ability to choose color and stuff like that. So I don't know if this is the greatest lesson for that, but you know what? There's something for everyone. And this is the lesson I'm doing today. Lesson. I think I did actually step you through this one. So let's call this half a lesson. All right, I'm just going to mix up an orange. So this is really the last step. I'm just going to put it in color. He is a pumpkin, so I do want a nice orange. And I'm simply laying a flat wash of that color over everything that needs to be orange. I do not care if it goes outside the edges a little bit. It has a little bit of a screen printed effect. However, I don't want it streaky, and I don't want it to pool or puddle or blossom and bloom. None of that cauliflowering. I need it nice and light because I don't want it to also put a cast over all of the black ink. So I'm just going to dab that off on a paper towel and then run over the top and help redistribute that more evenly. It just needs to look like a flat wash of orange. Police are here, gotta go. Could you imagine? I got arrested on live stream or something. Now I'm nervous about that. I have no reason to be arrested. Now I'm nervous. All right. I need to put a bit more orange back on this side because I bleached up too much of that. You could absolutely put some shadowing on this if you felt like it. I'm not going to do it. But if you felt like it, just keep it very, very simple. Like just one shadow color and just keep it a very sharp block of shadows. You really don't want to start blending everything. I don't think it starts. There's like a weird uncanny valley, I feel like, when you do really great blended gradients underneath etched line work. I mean, have at it. Honestly, I'm not going to stop you, but it really makes me feel a little uncomfortable sometimes. It's like, it looks like when we first got, it's like when you first get an iPad and you go on Procreate and you take your drawings and then you go and try to color them digitally and you put all the blending and the blurring and the gradients in, and then you start to think, why does this look like the most amateur thing I've ever seen? It should be good, right? I've got all the technical prowess of the computer to render these colors and these gradients, but it looks worse. Not always. The way I do it, it looks worse. So maybe that's something for me to look at in the future. Love that. Oh, I just love the way that looks. I'm going to put gold for the crown, which is essentially just yellow, but I will pick up a lot of that yellow. I want it to be a really light yellow. And in fact, I do have a gold here. I hesitate to put the gold. I might put a little bit of green in there just to dull it down. Kind of want like an olive. But I hesitate to put the gold because the metallic might also put a cast over the crown. And I want all these colors to look slightly dull and off. I don't want it to be too punchy and too bright. What color is this? I'm just going to go straight in with it, see what happens. It's barely a color. What's this one? Oh, this has a nice little gray to it. I think I'll just stick with either the Moon Glow or the Payne's Blue Gray. There's the Payne's Blue Gray over the suit. So see how you get that striped suit effect, but it still looks like a dark suit? Crisis averted. You could use your white gel pen. Just no real need to. And I do think it would start to change the overall effect. Again, we just want a wash of flat color, so try not to let any of that watercolor pool in any areas heavier than where it is somewhere else. It's a little easier and more forgiving in these really spindly small spaces because you can't really tell, but in this like open pant area down here, if I had a bit of blue like that, it would really distract from the overall look. So you just want to keep manipulating it around. This paper's not the best, it pills. I mean, it's so hard to say because if I could import these journals and sell them, I would, but I couldn't sell them as like your proper watercolor journal. They do not function that way. They're specifically called drawing paper, but they're so heavy duty. Like they're a thick cardstock of a drawing paper. And oh, maybe some kyanite genuine. I miss her. Put that in the wings. The bow tie. Great for washes, great for a couple of layers, but it will start to pill kind of out of nowhere. And I can't help you. They're called Diario Grafico. I believe they're in Spain or Portugal. And I actually got them from Riot Arts and Crafts in Australia on a super, super, super insane discount. Like they were trying to get rid of them, so they were selling them for $2 each. And I thought, this is great. Had I known at the time that I would love them as much as I did. And this is almost like a late blossom love for them too, because I used them. These are some of the first ones I used early on in art journaling. But at that point, I was still just thinking, oh, there's so many other things out there I haven't tried yet, so I'll go and try everything before I know what I like. And now it's these. I wish I could have bought 700 of these. But it's fine. I'll find something else. Ugh. I'm so obsessed, I can't even tell you. I love how he looks. Do I put a bit of the blue, the Payne's Blue Grey, in the eyes? I do. Just for something. Using a big brush too, so I really can't control anything. And I might just really lightly hit that mustache. I miss my mustache. I had to shave it off the other day because I had to go and look young for a meeting. I was so mad. Steve was like, no, you have to get rid of it. I said, is there any way you think this meeting could go well without me getting rid of it? And he was like, no, get rid of it. So I'll never know. I do think it wouldn't have been that much of a problem, but I trusted him. We'll see. It's all him. It's his fault if it doesn't work out then. Great. I think that's it. I think I'm going to call it a day on that one. This is Jack, the Pumpkin King. It really is that simple. I want to make it more difficult and start keep painting, more and more and more, but that really is it. Thank you so much for watching the Halloworkshop Extra Mile for week 5. We have lots of lovely lessons already in the Halloworkshop, 5 weeks worth. If you're going to join us, we still have 2 more weeks to go. I'd love to see you in there. If not, I'll see you around on social media. Thanks for watching. Until next time, bye.